Hello, my name is Regan. I'm 22 years old and I attend to Anglo-Ruskin University and study film production.
Once upon a time in my life, I used to draw between the years 6 till I'd say about 11, and then when I went into college I just kind of stopped as I felt that I wasn't really improving at all. And I never went back into it really. There was moments where I would be incredibly bored and then maybe I'd draw something in my notes or something like that. But I never imagined of getting into painting at all. I never thought that would be a skill I could ever try and tackle, as it just looked way too difficult for me personally. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been researching David Lynch and his type of paintings, and I stumbled across a few that have inspired me to go for this kind of surrealistic town, and I've been motivated to try and push myself even further than I have ever done before, and hopefully it goes well. The biggest problem that I face when doing anything creative, I suppose, is just trying to be too perfect. Whatever I'm trying to do, it doesn't matter what it is, I just try and make sure it's the most perfect it can be. But unfortunately that just gets in the way of me actually continuing to doing anything. I lose a part of myself every time I drop something that I used to really enjoy.
The Bob Ross Challenge was an idea I came up with for a live TV show. And it kind of really introduced me into the idea of how nice painting actually is. It doesn't have to be amazing or anything, but even with Bob Ross's videos, he just shows you that it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll end up getting there eventually if you do think the painting's perfect. But also this challenge just brought me a lot closer to everyone else as well, because I felt like I didn't really feel as close to everyone as I thought, but then I felt really good afterwards. I suppose painting helps me just clear my mind in a way. I get a sense of clarity afterwards, as I can just jot down everything that's upsetting me or something I'm scared of. It works in the same way as opposed to like a journal that someone can keep and just write how they're feeling. But yeah, it's basically just my own version of a journal. Other than Bob Ross, who is one of my favourite artistic influences, I really like David Lynch, as he really shows up his fucked up mind through his artwork and even his films. So I appreciate him a lot as a filmmaker and a painter. There's also this Polish artist, I'm going to try and say his name, Beksinski. He paints like these really surrealistic like cities and like statues, and they look really, really good. I want to try and get to that level, but it's going to take a very long time, I reckon.
Okay, so I've painted basically the base of everything. So far I'm not a fan of it. It's a real mess, but this is it so far. It's not great so far. I've nearly had a fucking breakdown over it, but I'm just gonna see if I can try and salvage something out of it by the end of it. Wish me luck.
Hello and welcome to my show and tell, where I'm about to explain some of my strange paintings. Some of them I do like and some of them I think are absolutely horrible, but I think that's the process of what I'm trying to go through. Just go through the absolute worst ones and gradually, hopefully, get better and paint something like that. So this is my first ever technical painting. I believe it was called Golden Glow, and I was copying off of the Bob Ross, so this was for the challenge. From far away it looks okay, but the closer you get it's a bit of a smudgy mess. This painting, I feel like from what I get from it, is some sort of like debating with like two evils. This is probably around the time where I was just trying to figure out what I was actually doing and who I wanted to be. I think I did this when I was going through a bit of a dip again in my life, and I wasn't feeling too good about myself, and I felt like I was just going to continue falling and falling and falling. And the eyes just represent that people are always looking at me, and that's like one of my biggest fears, is having like loads of eyes on me. And that's especially what I get from home when in London, because there's so many people and so many eyes and whatnot. And I think it's become an occurrence in some of my paintings where there's a lot of eyes involved. So maybe that's something deep inside me where I think that's one of my fears, which is a weird fear, to be honest. This painting, I actually have a name for it. It's called House of Balloons, and I think this is kind of set in a club. Now you might not see that, but there's like some hands here just going up. It could even be trying to grab the balloons, but I say it's in like a club setting because everyone's kind of in a really good mood. But for me, when I go clubbing, it's a horrific experience, as it's very loud and it's probably one of the worst places I can ever be in, personally, which is quite sad since I don't find clubbing that fun. But yeah, this one's quite nice.
Once I finished this painting, I was really disappointed and I absolutely hated it. The reasons why I thought this is because I was trying to perfect it way too much. Whilst I was painting it, I kept breaking down and having moments of giving up. There are some things I actually do quite like about it. I like that I've attempted to try and do some lighting. I like the fact that I've done these cute little eye people. I think there's a story in each one of them. Even though I'm not particularly happy about the colour scheme, I think it is kind of cool in a way. I hope that I continue on and don't give up, because I feel like there is a lot of potential within myself to paint something that is very good. Maybe not to the standards that I think, but I guess I'll see.
So far with my journey of painting, it's mostly disappointment inside, but at the same time, I feel like it's starting to speak to me a bit more. But I usually think that's everything with in terms of art, filmmaking and stories, is that most of the time people don't really like their work as much. However, I'm just going to keep going until I'm somewhat satisfied, I would say. But at the moment, I know I have a lot of work to do.